What in the world did I just watch? Can someone answer that for me? Everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the crazy curly hair. Just got out of the shower and finished watching the series finale of Hawkeye, and I have thoughts. Many thoughts. Like, oh my god. First of all, let's start at the beginning. Then we will go into the ending because the ending is bomb, and you gotta watch it. I probably like this series. I like Loki better, but I liked the series finale of Hawkeye a lot better. I think like it just hit all the Marvel feels that I needed from Eternals, No Way Home, maybe even Black Widow. Like the list can go on and on. Shang-Chi was beautiful. That was its own thing. But oh my god. Oh my goodness, goosebumps. Okay. So Hawkeye isn't even my favorite like Avenger. Don't get me wrong, like I do love him, but my favorite Avenger will always be 100% Spider-Man, even though he's so underrated. If we're going for like Avengers, it would probably be Cap. But second maybe Iron Man, but you know it's always funny because whenever it's like the Batman versus Superman, Captain America versus Iron Man, I am Team Superman, Team Cap. And then when I was going to watch like the main movies, and everyone was like wearing their like favorite hero shirts and everything, I realized I do not have my favorite hero shirt. I have the other one. So I went wearing Batman and I went wearing Iron Man sweaters. So there we go. But yeah, Hawkeye is not my favorite Avenger. He's my sister's favorite Avenger. She had thoughts before I watched the series. I watched the first episode first, and she was like giving me the tea and everything, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I saw the trailers and I was like, why is it a Christmas thing? Like, you know, I wasn't sure. I loved Haley playing Kate. That was like I felt like it was a great fit. She's a great actress. I love her. I think I started seeing her in Pitch Perfect, and then like from there I just was obsessed. Funny enough, I haven't watched Bumblebee yet, and like that's like on my list. So I don't know how that happened. But usually I'm on top of that for the most part. But yeah, so I went in not with high expectations, and I think that was good. And the first episode, it was quite good. I liked it. I felt like we knew where we were at, the place and time. The beginning, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with, because she was little, and then I was like, wait a second, this was when Loki attacked, and this was the first Avengers. I was like, okay. Obviously, there was some inconsistencies with the Avengers Tower and all that stuff, and I read all the things. But for the most part, it was good. I was like, okay, cool. And then we got introduced to Hawk and his kids and everything. I say Hawk, it's Clint. When he's not in suit. Well, I guess whichever one you want to refer to him as. And Nathaniel was huge, and I was like, what time period are we in that these kids are all grown up? I thought they were going to call him Nat. Turns out they call him Nate, which was kind of a missed opportunity if you ask me, because he is named, okay, but like, you know. So anyway, so obviously some time had passed. He had a hearing aid, and they didn't exactly explain why he had a hearing aid other than just show some flashbacks, and you kind of just got the gist of it, and you're like, okay, don't know where exactly, but he lost his hearing along the way. He got older. And now that I think about it, he's significantly older than his wife, because it's been 5 years and they disappeared, and so like when you really think about it, it's like, wow. I mean, it's not that big of a difference, but I was like, okay. And these kids have grown up and they're watching the Avengers musical, and I'm just dying, like dying. I was like, what am I watching, and why do I like it, and why is it making me cringe all over as well? And I was right there with Clint. And him turning off his hearing aid and moments of like, I just don't want to be present right now, is the epitome of just like tuning everything out and just like, nope, not having it. And his kids, I feel like I feel like this series focused a lot on his kids, and I appreciate that because in the prior, like in the movies, like you knew those were his kids and you got to know them a little bit, but like this series was really focused on him and his family, and that's what I appreciated. And we got more of his backstory of him as the Ronin and things that I didn't even like pick up on when I was watching Endgame, because I just like thought he was just going around and like still saving people, but like I knew he was also killing people. Um, but I didn't know it went like that. Like there was just more to it, and there was more things to it that I didn't know about. And so Kate, right away, I loved her. I loved her character. I loved just how snarky and sarcastic she was. The only thing that I will say is she's supposed to be like super good at archery. And in the beginning, like she's decent, and it like kind of like just kind of over time she just is better. I don't know, like it's hard to explain. Like I just she got all these trophies and all these awards and everything, and she like worked her butt off. She like took karate, taekwondo, whatever the case may be, and she's really good at fighting, and she's really good at misleading people. But she wasn't all that good at archery in the beginning, and then like as time went on, it's not that she learned it. It's more sort of like she just was better, and I think that was just for the sake of the TV show. But I would have like it's okay, like you know she's not perfect. Like obviously Hawkeye is perfect and everything, and like she wants to like be up in his caliber, but like like she just was decent, and I just felt like she should have been better than that. She didn't start showing like that she was good until like that one scene where they were like driving and after they got captured, and she was like shooting at people, and it was like, oh, you are good. But like she couldn't even like hit the bell in the beginning, and it would have been more impressive to me if she like hit the bell right away and then things started happening. The fact that she missed and that she constantly was missing, it just I didn't believe it. That's just my opinion, and just like it seems so small now, but in the beginning that was like something that was just like and it's okay that she kept messing up in terms of like being a superhero, I guess you could say. Like she wasn't stealthy enough, she made mistakes and everything, but like the fact that she wasn't that good at archery in the beginning kind of was a red flag, like that was something different. She could be good at archery and still like not be good at being a hero at first. Like she needs to learn that. But that's just my point of view on that. Sorry about my Kleenex box. But yeah, uh, I like the back and forth between Clint and his wife and kids and everything, and us finding like little things along the way that add up to like his past and everything, and things that we didn't know about. Just little breadcrumbs here and there where we're just like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, and his back and forth with Kate, sorry, my sister's watching it right now. I just finished it. I thought was just beautifully done. At first, I got a little bit annoyed because it felt very repetitive, but then after a while, I was just kind of like, okay, this is working for me. And clearly, like, he views her, like, as a kid and everything, and he's kind of done. He's tired. He doesn't want to keep going through all this stuff, and the fact that this kid is coming and, like, it's starting stuff all over again. He just wants to be with his kids. Like, it just, he's all sorts of moody. And then, the main, like, bad guys, like, are people from his past, which I think is very interesting. And then there's also, like, obviously some time has passed, so like one of like the bad guys is like a girl whose dad he killed, but like I wasn't sure at first, like, because it didn't explain. I think that was like the point. Like, it didn't fully explain like who her dad was, and then it was revealed that her dad was like working for the kingpin and stuff. And so that was interesting. The whole kingpin thing was like very interesting, and like the fact that they didn't have to explain like why he was super strong and everything. He was just the kingpin, and you know who it was. And Kate taking on him in the end, it was just like it was all sorts of, oh my goodness, I need to talk about the last episode. Um, but that being said, Kate's mom, like Kate originally thinks it's her future stepdad who is basically like behind everything, and turns out it's her mom, and her mom is like doing all this to protect her, but like she's making all these mistakes. And Kate loves her mom. She like grew up with her mom because she lost her dad during the battle in the beginning. And it doesn't say exactly what happened to her dad, and I'm kind of thinking now that her dad might be alive, or they need to explain now what happened with her dad. But like the building blew up, you know, like because of the whole Loki thing and everything. So like it was just her and her mom for a very, very long time, and she was doing everything she could to like I think the underlining thing is like she wanted to make her mom proud. But at the same time, she was doing all this so that way she could practice to be a hero. But there is like I think this thing deep down inside her that like wants to make her mom notice her and love her for herself. Um and so like in the end, when it turns out to be her mom that is behind a lot of the things that are happening, she like is upset at her mom, but she loves her mom, you know? Like it's just kind of like Kate is like so, I think, loving and caring, but at the same time she's so sarcastic and everything that you're not really sure what her feelings are about certain things. And then sometimes she's like so impulsive and she goes right into it. Um and so her mom deep down just wants to protect her, but she again made a lot of mistakes and she doesn't realize that. So in the end she gets arrested, and her mom is like, "You're really doing this?" And Kate's like, "It's the right thing to do. Like you killed someone, like, and you framed someone who's actually a good guy. Her soon to be, well, not soon to be anymore, the guy who is going to be her stepdad, like is actually pretty quirky and cool and helped her out in the end. And he was swinging a sword everywhere, and it took me a second to realize that he was actually slicing people and stabbing them. And I was like, wait a second, like, isn't that essentially what we're doing with like the bows and arrows too? We're stabbing people. But I'm like, you don't really think about it too much. And then like the fact that it was a sword, I think, is what hit me the most. It was just like it made me realize it, like it was just like and the guy was, and there was no blood, and I was just like, what just happened? I had to go back, and I was like, he just sliced the, like, no, okay. And it's just like, okay. LARPers helping out was just like, and then they were also firefighters, so it was like great, but at the same time they were kind of clueless. And then at the end with them and like their get-ups and like they were so clueless, and I'm like, you're firefighters, don't you have like some sense of like how to handle people? And it's like, no, we're gonna put on our costumes, and then they're like, we're essentially Avengers. And I'm like, and the lady like banging the guy's head with a bat, and I don't even know where the bat came from, and I was just like, what is happening? What is happening? And then like Maya, you know, like she's basically one of the top villains here. There's like several villains, but like some are introduced later and everything. But like in her, you know, coming full circle, and like the fact that she believed Clint, that it was her boss, that was the reason that her dad was dead. And I don't even understand like the full story. I would have like maybe a little bit more explanation with that. But basically, I think Clint got a tip from the Kingpin, which he's associated with before, and that's why the dad died. But the dad was kind of like also on like, he was a good guy, just I guess involved in like bad things. I don't know. I would have liked a little bit more with that. But her like believing him and then like basically like turning around and just being a completely different and changed person, um and not wanting revenge on the Ronin anymore, I think was so nicely done and was beautiful character development on her part. The thing I would say is like I at first didn't really like her. I just, well, I guess nobody really liked her. I just felt that her character could have been fleshed out a little bit more. Because there were some things where I was just like, okay, how did you join this group? And I get it, you want revenge for your father, but how did we come here? And then it was like, it was explained that basically her dad was like working for them, and somehow they were family essentially, and like so that's how it happened. So even though there was like some inconsistencies with like certain things and I didn't understand like why certain things happened, it was explained later. Like it was a series, you learn things as you go, which I appreciated. Um and then her coming and like killing one of her best friends, because he just like he didn't understand what was wrong with this whole situation, and that she wanted him to come with her, and she she had to make that decision because she realized that he was not going to come with her. He was not even going to let her live. He just was too wrapped up in this whole thing that like it didn't matter about their relationship. And I thought there was something romantic going on there for a while, but I was just like, I don't know. And then it's clear that he was also envious of her because she kind of like got his title. And so in the end, him telling her like you need to run did show that he cared. It's just like he was so wrapped up in this whole thing, and there was no changing that. Her, I don't know if she killed him, but her shooting the kingpin at the end though, she like I felt like everything came full circle for her. Like I'm not one for violence and being like, yeah, like I mean, I guess when you're watching like an Avengers movie and like it's a bad guy, it's like he needs to die, like but like when I really think about it, I'm just like I'm not a violent person. But like there's just something about these movies where it's like it gets you in the zone, and of course like it's just like it's this whole entire world, you're a fan and everything, but like when you like stop and you think about it, just like okay. So basically her believing Clint and going and like joining the fight, but like basically like saving Clint, um I think was just beautifully executed, and it was perfect for her character development. I will say though, her just showing up with her hair down, I'm like, when does she have time to straighten her hair? Like I don't understand. Like I mean, like she had braids all this time, and then all of a sudden it was just like straight, perfectly done hair, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know. She had to have a glow up before her big moment, I guess. And so Yelena, I think, was the highlight of this series for me because, first of all, I didn't understand what exactly happened at the end of Black Widow. Someone like that lady ended up hiring, and I go more into this in my Black Widow review. Ended up hiring her, and I guess we now find out that it was Kate's mom, and basically she gets to kill Hawkeye, but she knows, and I have gone into this before, that that was Nat's best friend and she was an Avenger, so why would she believe that he was the best? I think it was just like emotionally, like she was just like torn apart with the idea that her sister was dead, and she was willing to believe anything. that she wasn't even thinking common sense. I will say that one scene where we go to before everyone got erased and everything. Um, she did look different. I will say that, and I think it was because of her hair color, how they did her makeup differently, and everything. Um, and I think that's what made it a little bit less believable that that was happening at that point in time. Um, but getting to see where she was at that point in time and realizing that um they were like finding all the widows and they were like basically turning them and everything, and their plan was being executed, like that was really interesting. But I don't know what happened after that. And then that one lady that was kind of weird, like she was bad and then she was good and then she had a kid and then it was like okay. um so yeah, and then the end scene with her like whacking Clint, it just was like, oh my goodness, like her scenes with Kate were brilliant and cringy at the same time because I was just like, she felt a little different, but it still felt like her, and obviously time has passed, so it's not like how she was before. Um, and the only way that she could believe Clint was hearing like the whistle, and I was just like, well, if she doesn't believe Clint, him telling her this and this and that, like what is gonna be the one thing that she's gonna believe? And of course it's that. And she just is like, she doesn't like him. It's very clear that she doesn't like him at the end, but she's willing to accept that, like, it is what it is. You know, she doesn't like the fact that he's alive and her sister's not. But she understands. And seeing that realization come to her and her accepting, like, oh my goodness, like, I knew this all along, but I was just very mad. And of course, she was heartbroken. Um, but yeah, just seeing her whack him and him letting her whack him was just so brutal. That ending fight scene though was spot on. Oh my goodness. It was just so many different things here and there, and then we were in the building and then he was in the Christmas tree with an owl, and then the tree fell because Kate, and then they were on the ice skating rink, and so many cool things and so many people, and they were just like amazing. And I'm like, did we even really need the Avengers? Like they are just so cool. And her learning like all these different skills and tools, and mainly on her own because Clint was being a little bit of a jerk towards her. But her being so persistent, I think, really got her to where she was at the end. And just, I mean Kate, but like just like that ending scene and like the owl when he picked up the truck, and like obviously like in that moment you're like, oh my goodness, like this is Ant-Man's doing. And then like the owl flying away with the truck, and he was like, well, that solves that problem, because she was like, what are we gonna do about that, like, and he's like, I don't know, I need to ask about that. And then the owl flies away with it. I'm just like, well, that okay. Like, oh my goodness. And there's just so many different things happening with the mom and the stepdad and the larpers, and oh my god, and the dog was not like this huge part of the series. He was just there, just kind of to bring me comfort, and I enjoyed just there to bring me comfort, and I kind of enjoyed that. Sorry, my screen turned off. So I don't know how much was caught on that. But yeah. Oh my goodness, am I missing anything? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Because the whole series was essentially her trying to help her mom and get her to see that the uncle, well, it is her uncle, is like the bad guy and everything, and he's not the bad guy. Turns out it's the mom. And then her working undercover with Clint and finding out more things about um this undercover like assassins group and who they work for, and everything's just like piecing together and getting worse and worse, and he's constantly keeping in contact with his wife. And then the end, like I didn't know what was up with the watch, and then the end he like returns it to the wife, and he's like, you gotta take better care of your property. And I was just like, what? And then it was like a shield thing on symbol on the watch, and it said 19. I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't know what is happening. Their suits were awesome. I'm not sure how I feel about like the actor of Hawkeye in purple, but I know he's supposed to wear purple. But I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about the purple. The fact that like Marvel, like their movies, I'm sorry, that's a whole different thing. But the Disney Plus is doing pretty well. The fact that they are being so spot on their costumes now and how they're evolving into like what they're supposed to look like. And it's basically like the comics come alive and done modern, but at the same time as close to the original as possible. They're doing a fantastic job. And so yeah. I'm trying to think if that's all my thoughts. I think that's all my thoughts. I am so excited to see where this goes. It was much better than I had originally anticipated, and I'm happy about that. And I just was screaming the whole entire time at my phone screen because I was like, "This is awesome." But yeah, those are my thoughts on everything. Trying to think if there's anything else. The LARPers helping out was fantastic. And the guy stealing his suit in the beginning and then being so kind was great. The fact that the henchmen were like also human beings was great. And it led for a lot of great conversations and comebacks and sarcasm. And that's all I got. And this is probably a very long review, but it's okay. Thank you all for watching. Happy Christmas Eve. And yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get another video out tonight. The plan is that I might. But like I said, it's Christmas time and I kind of want to chill. So maybe next week. But I wanted to get something out at least tonight. So thank you all for watching. Bye. See you soon.